All right, today we're going to take a journey back in time, deep into the heart of one of history's most legendary and, let's be honest, most brutal training systems, the Spartan Agoge. Now, this wasn't a school in any way we'd recognize. It was a crucible, a 13-year process designed to literally break down a child and forge in their place the perfect guardian of the state. And the real goal here? It was a chilling and profound psychological transformation. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. This single idea, this chilling concept, is the entire point of the whole system. It's not about teaching kids to be brave when they're scared. No, no. It's about a complete psychological rewrite, an alchemy that turns a young boy into the very thing that other people fear. This quote really captures the terrifying end goal of the journey we're about to walk through, step by grueling step. So, how do you even start a transformation like that? Well, it doesn't begin with some big, inspiring speech or a morning prayer. It begins way before dawn, in the freezing cold, in the total absence of anything resembling comfort. The life of a young Spartan, a pious, starts every single day with a very deliberate, very calculated lesson in hardship. I mean, just look at these details. The boys slept on reeds that they had to go out and pluck from the riverbank with their bare hands, no knives. Think about that. It's not just about having a bad bed. It's a hands-on lesson that comfort is a weakness, something you can't even expect. And then, the bare feet. Always. On the cold, hard ground. This was to toughen up their souls, to make them physically one with the rocky land they had to defend. Okay, so the hardening process starts from the ground up, literally. After the bed and the bare feet, well, the lesson in doing without extends to their clothes. Or maybe I should say their lack of clothes. That's right, one. From the time they were 7 years old, a Spartan boy got a single, thin cloak. And that was it for the whole year, against the biting winter winds and the scorching summer sun. And the reason for this? It was basically physiological engineering. The cloak was designed to be not enough, forcing the boy's body to become its own furnace, to learn how to survive. It was a constant 24/7 lesson in endurance. So, once the body's been hardened against the outside world, the Agoge turns its attention inward, using another, let's call it a tool: hunger. The boys were intentionally, systematically kept hungry. Now, this wasn't just cruelty for cruelty's sake. See, the Spartan logic was simple. A hungry kid is a focused kid. A desperate kid? Well, that's a cunning kid. And this right here is where we get to one of the most famous, kind of mind-bending parts of Spartan education. Stealing was actually encouraged. It was seen as a practical exam in stealth, in resourcefulness, in planning. But, and this is a huge but, if you got caught, the punishment was brutal. Not for stealing. No, you were punished for the incompetence, for the sloppiness of being discovered. The crime wasn't theft. The crime was failure. And this, it really makes you stop and think, right? Where's the line between teaching a soldier how to survive off the land and basically training a kid to be a criminal? The Agoge just lived in this morally gray area, completely blurring those lines. It tells you that for Sparta, the needs of the state and the skills of its future defenders were way more important than any conventional idea of right and wrong. Okay, so with all this talk about physical hardship, you're probably thinking of the classic stereotype, right? The Spartan as just this illiterate brute. But that would be a huge misunderstanding of the Agoge. The afternoons were all about forging the mind and the tongue with the exact same ruthless efficiency they used on the body. And what their education produced was that famous laconic wit. The term literally comes from Laconia, the region Sparta was in. The boys were taught that wasting words was just as bad as wasting a move in a fight. Your speech was a tool, even a weapon. It had to be sharp, precise, and hit its target with maximum effect. No flowery language, just powerful, dense truth. And yeah, they were absolutely literate. They learned to read and write. But just like everything else, their curriculum was laser focused. They weren't reading philosophy just for the fun of it. They were memorizing the war poetry of Tyrtaeus, these powerful songs that drilled into them the ideas of loyalty, courage, and the ultimate glory of dying for Sparta. Every single piece of their education served one goal: creating that perfect warrior citizen. All right, so as the day winds down, you'd think maybe they'd get a break, right? Nope. The lessons just keep on coming, especially at the communal evening meal, the syssitia. This was not a time for comfort or reward. This was the stage for one of antiquity's most notorious dishes, a meal that was itself a tool of indoctrination. I mean, just get a load of the ingredients for the famous milas somos, or black broth. Boiled pig's legs, animal blood, salt, and vinegar. It was famously disgusting. There's a story about a visitor from a city famous for its luxury who tried it and said he finally understood why Spartans weren't afraid to die. Yeah. But it wasn't supposed to taste good. It was all about pure sustenance and, more importantly, reinforcing the shared sense of deprivation. But see, that's the whole point. It had a much deeper psychological purpose. Eating this horrible meal together, day after day in silence, does something to you. It creates this primal bond that no fancy feast ever could. It strips away all your personal taste, your pleasure. It's like in that shared experience, the I just dissolves. It gets replaced by the we of the group. They weren't just eating. They were being psychologically and, yeah, even metabolically absorbed into this one single thing, the Spartan state. So you can imagine as night falls and these boys head back to their reed beds, the whole picture starts to come into focus. The Agoge, it's not just a bunch of random cruel acts. It's a highly sophisticated psychological and physiological system. It's the final alchemy that turns a boy into a guardian. It's basically a four-step formula, if you think about it. Step 1, strip away all comfort to make the body unbreakable. Step 2, enforce this insane discipline in everything they do and say. Step 3, and this is the big one, systematically erase the I, the individual. And finally, step 4, from those broken down pieces, you build the unbreakable we, the phalanx, the state, the very idea of Sparta. And all of this, it leaves us with one last really big question, doesn't it? The Agoge, without a doubt, worked. It produced some of the most effective soldiers in history, soldiers who kept Sparta safe for centuries. But that success? Wow, it came at a huge cost. In creating the perfect guardian, it completely destroyed the individual, their creativity, their freedom, their whole sense of self. It's a powerful reminder that sometimes the strength of the group is paid for, piece by the individual.